Ni hao, xin chào, hola, greetings from your friendly neighborhood environmental coordinator. It's Alan McIntyre bringing you the how to calculate scores for the Green Dorm Challenge. In this little explain everything slideshow, I'm going to show you a Green Dorm Challenge scorecard, the categories, their point value, and how I divide that against the numbers of rooms and dorm parents and all that stuff. And also how to calculate stewardship offsets. So you're all in the know and you are aware and can ask questions about this wonderful challenge. Okay, let's get started. Let's begin by looking at MLS. Here's MLS here. This is one of our Green Dorm scorecards. We have the criteria for scoring and their values right down here. Notice that windows open is worth 5. Heating elements, if there's a third or more blocked, is worth 5. Lights on, and electronics on are worth 1 each. Not recycling is worth 5 points. And these are all bad, right? You're not supposed to collect points. You want to have the reduced points. But if you unplug your room, you can reduce your points by 2. So let's take a look at this specifically with this dorm. So in scoring, I usually begin, I want to be able to set it up so I can do some simple math. Pretty easy and basic stuff. We're going to do totals here. Oh, this is a terrible color. Let's see if I can change the color. Oh, we'll stick with it. Hopefully you can see that color okay. I'll zoom it in a little closer. Maybe that'll help. Well, we really can't because then I'll lose out on seeing stuff. So let's take a look at open windows here. We're going to do that one first. Notice as you go down, I can see the numbers of windows open, and I notice on room 26 somebody was in the room there. Remember, if you're in the room, you're using resources. That's okay. You're supposed to use them. It's about wasting them that this challenge is about. We don't want you to waste the energy because that is money that creates pollution and it's just not smart. So with Windows has been something that's recently altered the scoring on. It is worth 5 points, but it's not by number of windows. It's a one-time deal because there are some dorms that have more windows than others. And for a lot of these other categories, I'm giving them a one-time score, especially if they're affecting the whole system of the dormitory. Windows, heating elements, and recycling bring down the efforts of our school as a whole system to reduce our energy footprint and the amount of pollution we put out on the planet. So, if we take a look at this, we do the math, noting that right here, this one is not going to be worth 2, it's just going to be 1 5-pointer. So each of these is worth 5 points, and that becomes 15. The same as with heating elements, they're worth a lot of points because, again, these are putting strain on the whole system. They're either consuming more wood chips or burning more wood, or they're just wasting energy when they're not done efficiently. And with heating elements being blocked, all that heat energy is typically going into the item that's blocking it, not circulating in the room so it can regulate properly. Now when we look at lights, we have a different value for lights. They're 1 each because the wattage is pretty low on lights, and they can be controlled by you. You can turn them on or off. And that's basically what we're looking for, is things that you can turn on and off, and that's especially true with electronics. Note here, here, and here we got a lot of electronics on, and so typically our judges are going to go in your room and they're going to see if they can turn it off. They're going to test it. And you note right here that Ted wasn't really sure about the music system being on or off if it's sleeping. Well, standby is off, right? If you can't turn it off any more than that, then that's kind of what you're limited to. So this one is really just 1. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 total points for electronics. And it's good that Ted noted that. That gives me information when I do this scoring. Electronics, again, are a choice. And so things like a fridge and a microwave, those things remain plugged in all the time because they don't function as well if they're unplugged. But we give bonuses if you do unplug it. And we'll get to that in a second. Now, moving on to recycling, if we look at these recyclings here that says no, they're not recycling. This is a strain on our system. These are resources that can be recovered and reused and made into a new product. So we want to do that. We want to contribute to the future we want to see. And we want to see a future that recycles its resources instead of extracting virgin ones from far-flung places that create struggle and oppression or reduce habitat in any way. So that's why we do that. So that's 20 points. That's why it's worth 5 points too. It's a big deal. It's a global impact. Now, here's the good stuff. Good news for MLS. Way to go, guys. You got 2 rooms that are completely unplugged. By unplugging, what that means is that they have pulled out the plugs out of the socket. When you have something plugged into the socket of the wall, there's a little bit of a leak of wattage going through. It's very low. And some people would say, oh, that's not significant. Well, collectively, it becomes significant. Many little drip points in a system like Proctor becomes a flood of energy loss and a loss of money and an impact with air pollution and etc. So we want to reward behaviors that unplug when you're not in the room. So these are great. These are minuses. These are going to reduce their score by a total of 4 points. 2 points for each room reduced. Pretty cool. So that's going to totally cancel out this one score there. So if we do the math here, we're going to do these. Those cancel out. We have 30 points here plus our 20, that's 50. So we have a total of 53. And that's how I got to that number. Pretty important deal. Now here's the other part of the math that is vital here. I'm going to zoom in. Okay. Well, can't zoom in totally. You got to do some of it with me. The rooms matter. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 rooms. Rooms. Let me count that again. I feel like I counted that wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rooms. So I'm going to write in 10 right here. And we're going to divide our number by those rooms. But there's dorm parents involved. So dorm parents, if I base it on number of adults, so dorm parents is based on number of adults and the number of children. And children count as 1. Doesn't matter if you have 3 or 18, it's going to be 1. Now, you can argue that they're going to have more resources drawn out and stuff. Yes, but I'm not going into their home to look and see if they're wasting it. I'm assuming things. So I'm going to keep that number relatively low, okay? But adults, we're going to give them a value of 1. We have 2 adults. We have Chris and Casey. Now, they get a dorm parent scorecard, and they did not turn one in, so that's going to be an additional 8 points to their score. I know. That's too bad. They'll learn from it. So that's a 61. So we're going to take that and we're going to divide that by their room number. So we have 12. All right, breaking out my calculator off screen here. I'm going to do a quick calculation. You probably can do it faster than me. Go for it and yell it out once you have it. Yep. It is 5.08 is our score for this dorm for this particular score. And so this score of 5.08 will be added to the next scorecard. And remember, you get 2 a month until April. In April, there'll be 2 scores as well. So that's how you score a dorm. There's a way to add, or there's a way to get other points or reduce your points, and that's stewardship offsets. MLS didn't do any that I know of, but let's take a look at a dorm that has. Okay, let's take a look at a dorm that has done some stewardship offsets, Ecodorm. And you might remember their stewardship offsets that when they were presented in assembly. Let's review their score real quick, just because we can. If we take a look at their score, same type of math. Notice their total all the way across here is 0. They get 8 points because the dorm parent didn't turn in a dorm parent scorecard. They have a total of 9 rooms, and they get a dorm parent score of 4 because there's 3 adults and then there's children. So that creates 4. Okay, for a total number of 13. So 8 divided by 13 is 0.6, and then they have a serious stewardship offset effort there. So minus 2 and add 0.6, you get this is their score in the negative. Let's take a closer look at this score, how this came to be. If we scroll I think it's the next slide actually, so hang on a second. So here is the offsets scorecard, which is on the flip side of our dorm scorecards. Let's take a look at this one. Remember that EcoDorm presented in assembly about their efforts to replace their paper towels with handmade, hand-knit towels. Holy smokes, right? That's some serious effort, and they're using them. And they also tried a vegetarian diet for a week. Pretty good. They didn't do that, they did a pretty good job with that, and the effort matters, and they presented information on that. So let's review the criteria. So action was done. Critical mass. Did they have more than 5 rooms involved with these efforts? Yes, they did. Duration of more than a week. They tried vegetarian for more than a week, and now these paper towels have been replaced completely. So that was a great effort. That's definitely more than a week. Creativity. Their slideshow was very good. It was in a keynote presentation presented in assembly. Inspiration factor. Was it presented in a fun way? Well, gosh, it was Axel. So come on. Education. Did they get to others? Yes. I think that some of you that saw that might have been like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Might have helped out. So the maximum score you can get from an offset is -2 for each time you do it, each score period. Okay, so keep it up. The more you do, you get it reduced off each time is a great thing. And that's Green Dorm Scoring 101. If you have questions or comments, please ask me. If you have ideas to make it more efficient, please let me know. And day students, man, I'd love to get you involved in some way, but I'm simply stymied by it. So help me out. If you've got a good idea, bring it on. Thanks for listening.